Today in our Shapes and Measurement book, I'm excited because this is one of my favorite pages to do. Okay, so if you open it up in our table of contents, today we're going to write the shape trapezoid. Now be careful because sounds like it was probably an A or a U, but it's actually an E, trapezoid. Kind of a fun word. And that's going to be on page 4 in our Shapes and Measurement book. Okay, so on our first page, we've got the rectangle, page 2, angles, page 3, squares, and here on page 4, I see this one went through on the other side, and so I want a nice clean page, so I'm going to tear that one out. And on page 4, we're going to write our title, Trapezoid. Okay, it's one of my favorite shapes because it has a little story, and if you know the story, then it's easy to remember what the shape looks like. Okay, so one of the first things that we need to do is to draw a line horizontal, and if you have a notebook like I do, you can just follow along that line. All right, and then we're going to go a diagonal line. Diagonal means that we're going to go out, okay, and another diagonal line over here. Then you'll notice because we made diagonal lines going out here and going out here, now we're going to follow that last line to close it off, and this line is much bigger. One of the attributes is that it has 4 sides, but one of the sides is bigger than the others, okay? Now, let's go ahead and write our attributes and leave some space, all right? Leave some space here because we need to draw something right underneath there, all right? So our attributes, remember the attributes are the characteristics. When you look at a trapezoid, what is it that you see? Okay, first thing, same as a rectangle, it does have 4 sides. All right, but one side is longer than the others. Okay, one side is longer. How many angles do you see? Well, this is where I like to get out my other marker and I like to trace those corners or angles. Does that look like you could make a square out of it? Not really. If I make those dotted lines, it doesn't make a square. So what kind of an angle is that? If you can look at just the angle, you can tell that that is an obtuse angle. And over here, these would be acute angles. So one of the attributes is that it has 2 obtuse angles and 2 acute angles. All right, and then if we're looking at vertices, remember vertices would be where the 2 lines meet. And I like to draw the little points right there so that you can see how many vertex or vertices, because there's more than one. It has 4 vertices. All right. Now, one of the other things, we said that one line is longer, but these are also oblique. So you can say that you have 2 oblique lines or diagonal, okay? And let's figure out the perimeter, all right? So to figure out the perimeter, remember, Adam and Eve walked around the Garden of Eden. How do we figure out the perimeter? we have to add them all. So I need to measure all the way around, and I'm going to use my centimeter side, and we're going to round to the nearest centimeter. So this one looks like it's about 8.5. If it's at the halfway, then that means we're going to go to the next highest number. So we're going to say that is 9 centimeters. And this one, 5 centimeters. Now your numbers may be totally different from mine because we did not measure it. We just went ahead and drew it. This one is 13 centimeters. And hopefully this one is close to that one, closer to the 5 centimeters. Now if you have one longer than the other, no worries. Still a trapezoid. Go ahead and write your numbers, and then we need to add them all. So we're going to write 9. Let me go back to my marker so you can see. For me, my numbers are 9 plus 5 plus 13 plus 5. Okay? And because we've got some big numbers, I'm going to use touch math to figure that out. So I'm going to start with these two numbers right here. 5 plus 5 equal 10. 13 plus 10 would be 23. 23 plus 9, to use touch math, we say 23, and then this would be 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 32 centimeters. Okay? So perimeter, if we're going to, in math, we like to use just the letter. So P for perimeter equals 32 centimeters. Okay, so now, how do I remember what is the story that goes with trapezoid? Well, think about what it sounds like. It sounds like trapezoid. And if you look, to me, this looks like if I put a handle here, it looks like it could be, if I lift it up, this looks like a trap door. Trap. Okay? It looks like it's a trap door. And what would I keep underneath my trap door? A zoid. Well, what does a zoid look like to you? To me, a zoid would probably look kind of like an alien. Okay? So in mine, my zoid, oh, he's an evil zoid. Okay? My zoid looks a little bit like an alien. So I'm going to trap the zoid so that he cannot get out. He's going to be trapped underneath my trap door. Okay? So by thinking of this story, trapezoid, I've got my zoid underneath the trap door. It helps me to remember what that shape looks like. I need to make it look like a trap door. All right? So that's the trapezoid. Now I didn't figure out the area because to figure out area you have to do length times width. And you can see our lengths are very different. So that's later on down the line when you guys get a little bit older, you can figure that out. All right, and that is the trapezoid.